on July the 1st, PlayStation thought that they'd ring in the new month with a blog post. And it's usually like, here's your PlayStation Plus games, or an announcement of a new game, or we've got a partnership with Grand Theft Auto, plays best on PS5. No, they thought they were going to absolutely flip the game board, disrupt the world and the industry as we know it, and announce, reading direct from the blog post, physical disc production ending in January 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. I'll read the full thing because it's quite a short blog, actually. In response to shifting trends in consumer preference, new games will be released on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This is from Sid Schumann, Senior Director. As consumer preferences in the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This transition has no impact on games that have already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in disc format. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation in how players can access games and provide choices as to where player preference to purchase new games is, whether that's at retailers or PlayStation Store. We remain committed to delivering a world-class game experience to our fans, and we thank you for your continued support. End of short blog.
Do you want to just get all the announcements out and just group this together? Because I feel like it's all in context of each other.
I feel like I want to keep the second one to a side because it is a slight. I mean, yeah, I guess in a way it's the same one.
We can put the PS3 Vita stuff aside, but I wanted to kind of bring in the whole Sony basically removing films from your library as well. They announced that this week as well.
I mean, yeah, that's a layer to this whole story.
Films that you have bought and that are in your digital library, they're not just they're removing from the store, they're removing access for you to watch them. And the reason I bring that up is because they're getting rid of physical media for video games, which if they can do it with movies, they can do it with games.
I mean, as I sit here with an entire wall behind me of memories, nostalgia, proof of my purchases, we kind of touched on it a little bit last week, and it was ironically not related to this at all, but we were talking about accounts. I think in the last couple of months we talked about account hacking as well, and we've referenced that your partner, same thing, had that very experience of like she lost all of her trophies, her account was hacked, all gone.
Didn't get anything back.
And PlayStation have turned around this week and said in a year and a half's time, that's it. Everything's digital. So everything you purchase, and when we say purchase, it should technically be rent because you don't own it if it's digital.
You're buying a license. Whether it's actually this is disc versions as well. You're buying a license to use that software. Mm-hmm. So even with a disc, technically Sony could revoke that license by putting a piece of software in the way. But with older consoles, for example, take the PS2, was not connected to the internet. There was no downloads, no digital updates to your game. You bought that disc, you put it in, there's your game. And if you own the PS2 and the game, you can still play it to this date.
I've brought my...
That's the one Chris has shown you.
Right there. I've brought along my visual history of PlayStation because this will be the last edition of this book that's actually got...
Well, the reason I was keen to bring in the movie thing is because I've talked about this as a potential downside for digital only for a while. Mm-hmm. And this isn't actually now a hypothetical scenario. This is Sony doing this via PlayStation, actually, about a different type of entertainment, but through the same storefront as games. And that is incredibly worrying because you could have spent thousands of pounds on games and then it's got, you can't have that anymore because of digital rights. We no longer have the right to distribute this. Therefore, you can no longer access it.
Yeah. There's there's so many threads to pull out for this story, but I think ultimately the
just...
internet, the world, I know our audience, you and me specifically, were very much like physical collectors. It's utter shit. And it was just like I had like a weird like not existential moment, but like a moment like I've got bad news in my family this week. You know about it, but we won't get into that here. And then at the same time, I think within that day, I then got home and got this news. Not comparing apples to oranges. And then at the same time, my Halifax app apparently told me that I'm getting everything switched over to Lloyd's as well. Totally didn't know that was coming. So that was a case where I felt like within about 2-3 hours, I got life-changing news in the family. My entire hobby, interest, passion, that's no longer existing in its current format. And then my bank, who's my mortgage, my joint account, my credit card, my daughter's savings account, everything all tied up in Halifax. Oh, that's all going to change. And you sit there. I think I laid there on the bed and I was just like, that's too much change for one Thursday afternoon or whatever it was.
They want to consolidate their branding efforts, probably to save a bit of money. But that means products that you've been engaged with will probably eventually disappear over time as they update terms of services and stuff.
Yeah, so it was kind of like I laid there thinking, like, as I said, like history, like family member, my entire life, PlayStation, my entire life, the bank I've been with since I was 15, my entire life, all within like a few hours. Like they're going to change, that's going to change, that's going to change, and you're just like, I need a drink. I'm not cut over this. But then to bring it full circle back around to PlayStation. I mean, it confirms a few things.
Can we try and find a positive spin on this? Because I can't find one. I've been trying to think about it.
I mean,
they're saying it's because how their customers interact with it. But there's reported anywhere between 15 to 25%. So let's just call it 20 for the sake of this. 20% of people buy games physically. That's a lot of people.
There's millions and millions of people.
And honestly, I'm just going to call out that utter bullshit. It's not about, we want to double down on how people provide better service, how people engage with it. Fuck off, is it? You want to destroy the secondhand gaming market. Mm-hmm. You want to destroy game sharing. And it is just greed. Yeah.
It's sheer...
I know times are hard for businesses, but sometimes shit is still just greed.
Yeah. It's the case of, well, me, it feels like just disregard your entire history, legacy, and the nostalgia to shave an extra couple of dollars off your bottom end.
On stage, E3, they give Xbox shit for game sharing, and this is how you share a game with PlayStation. Handed over a disc.
Yep, Shuhei Yoshida stood there with, I want to say Adam Boynes, I think it was at the time, and just went, that's how you share a game. Done.
Yeah.
And handed it over, and it was like, that's brilliant. And then essentially that short little sketch they pulled together overnight essentially won them the PlayStation 4 generation, which ironically in turn won them the digital library generation, which Phil Spencer spoke about, which is why Xbox is so far behind. And then if they're anything with this news, they're just doubling down on that. They are locking you to their platform where you can't take your games anywhere else. You will rent them, you lease them. Like, yes, you've purchased them and they'll be yours as long as the servers exist, but there will be a time. And it's as much as it doesn't seem like that in the digital world we live in, Richie, fast forward 30, 40 years, if you want to play a game that was only released on PS5, or I guess PS6, 30, 40, 50 years, that game probably will not exist. And I guess that back ends it with the other news that we'll get into of servers being shut down. And in this world where AI and RAM space and stuff, do you really think in 34 years' time that random niche PS6 game that you love but no one else really picked up on will still be available on an online service when you've already alluded to a little bit, but licensing comes into it? On my wall behind me sits about 6 or 7 PlayStation 3 games that were part of the Marvel Activision kind of run. Can't buy them online now. Deadpool, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man 2.
Which
can't buy them online.
If they're committing to maintain and the ability to download and update these games for people who've previously bought them, but nowhere have they said that they are. Let's bring in the PS3 and the Vita stores are getting closed down, and nowhere in their blog post about that have they said that you can actually download them. If you go on your PS3 and download a game that you bought digitally, they do not say you can do that.
I think this is the problem, isn't it? Is they give us the news without really giving us any.
They've done a shit dump this in the space of a day or two because they knew they had some bad news. Grand Theft Auto announced the digital thing, so like, this is the moment to strike. Xbox is stepping on rakes left, right, and center. So while the Grand Theft Auto news is alluding to this is going to be the way the things forward, did codes and boxes, if you can be bothered with a box going forward, they've decided to do a bad news day all in one go.
Yeah.
To stop, instead of spreading it out over weeks, and they've decided long ago that the PS6 is going to be digital only, and at some point they needed to announce this on the run up. So there's just shit.
There's just loads. I'm like trying to think, like, just off the top of my head, like certain ones that I know that I've like gathered over the years. Spec Ops: The Line, which is a phenomenal game, brilliant story, released on PlayStation 3. It's not available on the PlayStation Store now because of it got pulled for either controversy or rights or the developer closed down. I can't remember what it was, but it's not there. So, like, a game I actively want to play now, unless it gets a remaster or a port, like, it's stranded in the past. But if I wanted to, go get a PS3, go get a copy of the game, and the entire thing is there on the disc. Which I know is a false argument with modern games because there's often a day one patch and a lot of it doesn't come on the disc and stuff. However, I think my biggest thing as a collector is that video game preservation, that a lot of artistry, hard work, talent, albeit it might have not hit the heights and sold millions of copies or ever got a sequel or the studio might have shut down or whatever it may be, but to people out there, that game will be one of their favourite games of their childhood. It'll be memories they've had with their partner. It'll be something that got them through hard times. And it's just gone.
It's never going to be a mass consumer product, but is an artistic masterpiece. These things exist.
And they'll just go. They'll be gone. And you're right. I think the part with the statement is they mention nothing about how they're going to future-proof it going forward. There's no reassurances here that they're doubling down on security for PSN networks. Remember the PSN outage that spanned, several months over Christmas that year?
Well,
what happens when it goes down? If we have discs, we can still play our games offline to a degree.
What makes the PS3 news particularly bad is PS3 games cannot natively be played on a PS5.
Nope. Should we bring in the second blog post, what they hit us with? So the whacked us with one stick and then they hit us with another one. Reading from the beloved PlayStation blog, they also state that these released simultaneously. I kind of think they'll put them out together to see kind of which one will shuffle the other one under the rug.
This is what I mean. They decided to have a bad news day and just dumped free stories
just get
in
out
one
there.
go.
Yeah, I mean they're probably hoping Xbox will do something like within 3-4 days to just one up them, hold my beer, and do something else.
They'll take the lumps, and in a couple of weeks' time they'll moved on. And to go back to the 80% of people playing digitally, the 20%, if you can't buy physically, probably at least 15% of them people just have to switch over to digital purchases. And then they've also, physical games depreciate a lot quicker than physical games. Just sort of think retailers like Amazon need to store it, so when they're not selling as well, they discount them quicker than digital. So PlayStation will make up that loss of revenue very easily by having more control of things like sales and get no secondhand games or no discounted physical retails.
I mean, we'll get into secondhand markets. Like, remind me on a bit because I want to play a little bit of a game with us, with you and me and our audience right here, where we'll find some games. I'll look for them on the PlayStation Store. You look for them on Amazon. And we'll compare in the moment exactly the price difference of old games, and we'll find out. To read from the second blog, then at the same time, they say Sid Schumann again, bless him. Sid seems like a really nice guy. Senior director at Sony. He's been there for years. He's been in all generations of PlayStation. He has to come out and deliver this shit news. After nearly 2 decades of supporting the PlayStation 3 console generation, we wanted to let you know that we'll be closing the PlayStation Store on PS3, as well as on the PlayStation Vita. Vita means life. PlayStation Store on PS3 will close in select markets starting this year, followed by global closures for PS3 and Vita next year. That means new content purchases will no longer be possible once the PS Store closes on these devices. To ease the transition, players will be able to download previously purchased content after the closing date for the foreseeable future. So that remedies what you said a little bit, Richie. If you've already bought something, you can download it for the time being.
But he's also saying that is to ease the transition, and it's not
foreseeable
guaranteed.
Future.
It's foreseeable future. I mean, they don't currently have plans to do it. but they could.
It's coming. It's pretty much prefacing that it's coming. As the PlayStation Store continues to evolve to support modern commerce systems, including updated payment processing standards, PS3 and Vita are no longer able to support these updates at the level required. As a result, we'll need to close some stores in certain time frames as follows. Mexico, not with you this week, but after the fact, unfortunately, come August this year, you are losing access to those storefronts. Same with Honduras and Nicaragua. Additional Latin America, Middle East countries will also be closing start of late 2026. And all other countries, it will be July 2027. So I'm guessing that's the main ones, like Europe and America is going to be the last ones. We know this news may be disappointing to PS3 and Vita players who hold a special place in their hearts for this generation of gaming. PS3 and Vita represent an important era in our PlayStation history, so it was not an easy decision for us to make. As we continue to expand the PS experience on newer devices that most of our users are playing today, we need to focus our resources more on delivering the best game experience on these platforms as we look ahead to the future. He rounds out with some like nice words and stuff. But it's interesting, Richie. I'm just going to read that exact same sentence again, but I'm going to fast forward 30 years and change one or two of the words out. So fast forward to 2056. We're sat there.
We're time traveling, guys.
Hold on. Close to retirement, I guess. It's not Sid Schumann because he's probably retired, but we know this news may be disappointing to PS6 and PlayStation Portal owners who hold a special place in the heart for this generation of gaming. PlayStation 6 and PlayStation Portal represents an important era in our PlayStation history, so it wasn't an easy decision for us to make. The difference is, when that's read out in 30-odd years, everything you owned on that digital store, gone. He's reading that here, PS3 and Vita, doesn't bother me, because guess what? I can still just stick the disc or the cartridge in and it plays fine. And that's the point, is like, it's all well and good. And I get it, it's an old console, it's an old generation, but because they've not pushed forward in some lots.
Eventually, storefronts are going to have to close down.
Which I get that, that's fair.
I'm going to give him the credit. He's saying it's down to things like payment processing and stuff, and they don't. Yeah. It doesn't make sense to constantly keep updating it, like the store for the PS3 when it's literally 2.5 generations later.
Yeah, agreed.
So I get that, but the worst thing about this for me is the PS3 games cannot play natively in your PS5, so you fucked that up. Where I'm going to give Xbox some credit for once. Mm-hmm. You can just boot up your Xbox Series X and buy an original Xbox game from the store. It is the same storefront, and the game works. Yeah.
Credit where credit's due. Their backwards compatibility programs is fantastic.
So, while for the foreseeable future, until they change their mind and decide these games are taking up too much space on their servers and decide they want to use the storage space for something else, you can download games that you've previously purchased.
Yeah, well, this also throws up like a different conundrum. For one, it pretty much confirms next gen is going to be digital only, right? If they're saying 2028, that kind of pigeonholes that the PS6 will probably come out holiday 2028. They've got all the discs out the way, they've got them out of the system. PS5 will kind of chug along a little bit that year, but then 2028 will launch in the PS6. It's digital only. My query there, Richie, is you saying about forwards compatibility. You can't put your PS3 disc in. You're playing Control, right, on PS5. Yes. You bought the disc copy.
Yes.
They've done great this generation with PS4 to PS5 games playing on the PS5. How is your Control disc going to work with your PS6 if it doesn't have a disc drive? So is that a case of fuck you all?
There may be stuff they do on the launch of the PS6 where they can go, you know what, go, this will have a game key somewhere. You can stick your disc into your PlayStation on your account and it gets replaced with a digital version. But that means I'm about to play Pragmata, which I bought for my partner. Mm-hmm. That would be locked to an account.
Yeah.
Unless they're doing something like Nintendo are with game sharing, which I doubt.
But that wouldn't still, so you'd have to go into your, I guess, put the disc in your PS5, select something that says share digital management, and then send that to your PS6 account platform.
You'll upgrade to a PS6 version of it for about £15 to get it, and it'll give you a digital.
So you think there's still charges for the luxury of forward compatibility?
Well, if you want to update a PS4 game to a PS5 version, you have to pay. You don't have to do that
Not
on
every
Xbox.
game. Didn't with Horizon and a few of the first part where they backtracked.
Because they got a lot of backlash.
Which they should for this. It's just a whole messy thing, isn't it?
Again, don't have to do that on Xbox. Xbox have been eating shit and will continue to eat shit from us in the foreseeable future.
The story's coming up
soon.
But
again, these are things that Xbox have done way better, and this is where the stuff for PlayStation really comes into play.
Yeah.
Now, I have the PS5 version of Control because I bought it there and I got the Game of the Year edition with the DLCs already included. But again, it's like little things like sharing games with my partner. This kills it.
Sharing games with my brother. My brother borrows about half of my library because when I finish it, I go.
Games with you. My partner has
yeah.
Although I now own Astrobot, a physical version of it. I got the platinum on your copy.
Oh, that makes me feel good. But well, I'll tell you what, let's play our game then, Richie, about a digital future.
Yeah, okay, let's do it.
While we do this, let us know in the comments below, like, what pisses you off the most about this news out there. We'd love to hear from you. So you mentioned Astrobot as our first one.
Yes.
So I'm going to search for Astrobot on the PlayStation Store.
Astrobot.
I'll bring it up for our audience so they can see at home as well. So Astrobot currently on the PlayStation Store. If you wanted to buy it now, bear in mind this game's 2-year-old now. $59.99.
$44.95
on
with
Amazon.
Prime. Oh, I have Amazon Prime, so
okay.
that's I'm going to
cheaper.
Put that as a caveat of that.
Cheaper by what, 15 quid?
Yeah.
Okay.
RRP is $59.99, so yes, 25% off.
Let's go Spider-Man. Just the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. Actually, go Spider-Man remastered for the PS5. We'll keep it current.
Spider-Man PS5.
I have. How old is this now? It was a PS4 game that got a PS5 remaster, wasn't it? So the remastered version, $49.99.
I'm still looking for a version. Amazon is not coming up with the one. Can we do two?
Yeah, Spider-Man 2, $69.99.
Oh, really?
Yep, 70 quid for Spider-Man 2 on PS5 right now.
Jesus. Amazon, $39.95.
I mean, need we go on? Let's have another one. God of War.
Well, actually, I can go cheaper. I found it cheaper. It's still on Amazon, $35.49.
God of War Ragnarok. PlayStation currently, $69.99.
God of War Rag.
£70 on the PlayStation Store right now for a 3-year-old game.
Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok, £70. First listing, and actually the one I personally purchased, $29.48.
Half price. So if you cannot see, because I've seen people online defending this, as a consumer, regardless of if you're all in on digital, great. You love digital, you got your library, and you know what? I don't hate digital.
The convenience is fantastic.
Convenience, absolutely love it. There's nothing that makes me smile more when a game I've got on disc comes on PlayStation Plus, and I own it digitally. So then I have 2 copies. I've got a real one on my shelf, and I've got a copy that I don't have to put a disc in. I don't have to get off my ass to go put in.
But
I get it.
PlayStation don't handle trophies well for that situation.
They don't. However, in 3 quick examples of some top tier PlayStation games from their first party, there is proof. Do you think GTA, the new one, GTA 6, that's going digital, is ever going to get a discount?
It might do,
but it doesn't. But it doesn't need to because it's not competing with anything this time.
Yeah, Sony will be in complete control of when discounts happen. It won't be down to market forces like Amazon. Amazon have shit in their warehouse, which to give Sony credit on this one, I could not find the PS5 version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So we had to go Spider-Man 2 because they probably don't have any copies left.
I mean, you had that problem recently with Indiana Jones, right? They just didn't make enough PS5 copies, and clearly the market's gone. They're all sold out everywhere.
Digital doesn't have that problem.
Yeah.
But it comes down to consumer choice.
Agreed.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
Like, this is the big thing for me is I do engage in digital gaming. I've engaged in, we started off as a cloud gaming focus with Google Stadia. Everything we got was digital because it was cloud-based.
Couldn't be helped.
That was the nature of that technology, but that had the offset of not paying arguably about £900+ for a console.
Mm-hmm.
The console was free, so
you could buy 1,000 games with the money you've offset.
Yeah,
it's I mean, it just goes to show you, doesn't it, though? Like that's ultimately what it comes down to. It's controlling the price book. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's literally nothing you can do about it.
No.
And
because if you choose not to like do anything, Sony have done the calculus on that. Doing a protest and going, I'm going to abandon PlayStation. They know some people will, but guess what? They probably millions upon millions of people who will buy a PlayStation to play Grand Theft Auto 6 do not give a fuck about this news.
No. They don't have to. Again, a lot of people, digital futures, they honestly won't care. We've got a few friends who are all digital, and that's great. But this is when it should be about choice. And I think as far as consumerism goes, there needs to be something done. And I honestly do think there probably will be. I've seen this news shared across like BBC News and The Guardian, and it's been picked up beyond.
I don't know what they can do though. I don't know if legal recourse.
I mean, consumer practice, right? There must be a way that they can lean in things like poor internet connectivity restrictions, price and affordability. Like there should be compliance regulators in place to stop that.
This counts for all of this because what Grand Theft Auto are doing is still doing box copies, just not doing a disc.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
So you can still go to a third party retailer, so they're not having a monopoly. For download stuff, they can argue is when was the last time the full game was actually on the disc? Probably in PS4 generation. Like that is it's standard market practice to have downloads now. I don't know. I really don't think there's any legal recourse, unfortunately.
I mean, to be fair, if anyone's going to do it, I think it's the EU. They managed to get Apple to change to USB-C. That's pretty big pull. I think if there's enough wind, I think it will definitely be raised in. Again, this is industries bigger than music, television, and cinema combined. So there's enough money and weight for it to definitely be brought up by the powers that be. I just think there needs to be that thing for, as you said, when I think of chess pieces that get the government moving, you've got to think of jobs. There's going to be lots of people out with jobs here, whether it's in factories, production, couriers who deliver stuff, or entire businesses like the high street, game, CX, cash converters, all these second-hand companies that trade with this product. They're now impacted by this. Limited run games, they're probably dead in the water now, right? Eventually. How are you going to make physical hardware for something that doesn't have a disk drive?
This is a massive hit to them. They're going to probably double down on Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, until Nintendo do it, because I think part of this news also confirms that Project Helix is probably going to be digital only. Let's not forget the lovely little Series S that we love so much, Richie. That was the first one to go all digital.
Well, I think at the start of this generation, we kind of predicted this was the way it was going when both Xbox and PlayStation launched a digital-only console. And I went for the Series S because to me, that was a secondary console and was a Game Pass machine.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's a lot of, I think, history that we look back on. And I think that popping the disc in, the little whir of the startup, the boot up noise and stuff, like that's the history of it all. And I know that's not really an element that comes into play with it, but I just think this is very much the kind of last nail in the what gaming used to be coffin. It's evolved as all technology does, but it does feel like this is like a significant like I said, the knock-on effect of like you're not gonna like if you go into a store, who's gonna be shopping around for like a piece of paper with a code on it? Like, how are you gonna give your child or your niece or your nephew or something that like, oh, I bought you a video game for Christmas or your birthday, but you have to take this PSN voucher and go over to the store and then download the voucher, add it to your wallet, then go to the store and then buy it. Merry Christmas. It all just feels
the box becomes redundant. Imagine if that collection on the shelf behind you, instead of having physical discs in the boxes, you just got a strip of paper with a code. It feels completely pointless.
It's hollow.
Keeping the box, because once you've used that code, you can't use it again.
Mm-hmm.
So what? The box is protecting a piece of paper that is worthless.
Yeah, I mean, GTA is going to do it, but then ultimately, do you think PlayStation 6 actually still has like physical boxes with slips in, or is it just a case of you get like a little credit card from supermarket?
I think they will, because by providing physical ways of getting a digital code, it means they're not. You can't. It's harder to cry monopoly on the storefront. You can still go to other retailers. We're not stopping that. We're just not producing discs. And only about 15% of people use the discs anyway.
How long until that's just gone though? Like I know they said in the blog, like, oh, we'll support retailers, but I do feel like Amazon and stuff, I'm sure will continue to have the box with the code in. But once they get them diminish returns down to, like, why would Amazon even bother listing it when
CEX,
it's just a code?
CEX should be absolutely kicking off with this because
yeah.
Well, the reason I own a copy of Astrobot is because I traded in my partner's copy of Go See Your Take because we bought 2 physical versions, and I traded that in for Astrobot. So I went to CEX, traded in a physical copy, got it, walked out with a different game. That is now dead with this news. That can't happen again.
And you know what pains me with that, and what I think the understated thing is kids and people who maybe don't have the ability to spend the money on it. Like me, like I'm sure many people in their youth traded in many games to say, like, you trade 2 or 3 in to get a bit of money to get that one. Or I said you hold off for second hand because you might not just have the cash to drop 70, 80 quid on God of War or the latest title. So all those, I think, people out there in like a world that's like definitely more pushed towards the breadline with finances and inflation, everything going up.
And with how expensive games are.
Yeah.
Like,
so I know we always joke, but poor little Timmy, who when we were younger, you would save up your pocket money, or you'd maybe trade in some older games, or you'd scrounge stuff together. He doesn't have a chance now because he needs to save up that exact £70-80 to buy it. And
this is an appeal to all executives at the places like Sony and Xbox. If you truly want to show that you're doing this for cost cutting because in necessity, take a 50% pay cut. Just fucking do it. You can live with less money, but your price gouging, it won't make a dent in your overall finances of your company. But as a show of good faith, take that fucking hit yourself first before you ask consumers to constantly eat shit, which is what you're doing right now. You keep putting up the price of your hardware, you keep putting up the price of the games. You're getting rid of the ways we can purchase games. Games are not even as higher quality objectively as in like 5-10 years ago. It's like we're in an industry that has overstretched itself because a bunch of people wanted to make as much money as they could out of it and have fucking gutted it. And it's creativity and that gets killed, and it's consumers that get fucked over.
Yeah. Who suffers the most in this situation? It's the creators and the consumers. Both ends of the spectrum. The people who make the art, the people who enjoy the art, and it's all the penny pinchers in between and the big wigs at the top who want all of their extra. They want their 10% year-on-year revenue, and they want the shares, and they want that this and that. But do they ever sit down and actually enjoy the shit that gets made? Probably not. Because they're all little bean counters in their suits.
Don't you just want to sit them all down, give them a good slap, and tell them to stop playing at running a fucking business and just run a fucking business? Stop. Focus on getting good products out for reasonable price, and consumers will buy them. Rather constantly like messing around. How can we make more money for our shareholders who are making a fuck ton anyway?
Yeah. And then this all goes back to then. Surely, Richie, with no disk drive, that must mean the PlayStation 6 price can come down.
No, of course it won't.
Of course it won't. But then it doubles down of like, so you're getting rid of discs, and then now PS5 Pro at the moment is about 790 quid. So the PS6 and the Xbox Project Helix are rumoured to be in and around probably the 900 to 1,000 mark. You do wonder, like, what are they going to do when they try and get that install base out? And then people like you and me, hardcore people, are going to go, I don't think we're there day one. Sorry, this needs to come down. But then how many years into the life cycle of the PS6 and they haven't hit the heights of the units sold that the PS4 and the PS5 did, that they start to panic and go, we've killed our audience somehow.
The next generation is the first few years are going to flop and flop hard because we're at diminishing returns in terms of what you can get out the consoles. I don't think people are buying bigger TVs than, like, say, 4K. So while yes, your games will be better and run better and stuff and look a bit prettier, it's like I don't feel there's any real demand for Project Helix or Xbox or PlayStation 6. And with the current component shortages, the price going through the roof is like and on top of everything else we're dealing with, don't feel any people have the spare cash to buy a luxury that feels completely superfluous. It's what I was saying last week. The only way I can see PS6 being a success if it launches in 2027 or 2028 is if they have a huge library of first party PlayStation 6 only games, and that would be highly controversial.
I mean, they wouldn't be able to do it. They don't have enough studios left.
Yeah. So, are you interested in buying a PS6 day one?
I'm always interested because I want to be there for the tech, but if it rears its head round, it's like I've got 3 months' notice to scrounge together $1,000. That's easier said than done.
If in this news they came out tomorrow and went in, I don't know, October, November 2027, PlayStation 6 comes out, it's going to be 800 quid. I'm going to go, no thanks. I don't need it.
Isn't it?
I just don't. I don't need it. I don't see the. I don't see the value, and I don't know what they could put in front of me to go, yeah, you're right, I should buy this.
Yeah, well, give us some indictment here. You've got Push Square, who's obviously PlayStation specific website. They've done some polls, 3,000 plus votes. They've said, given everything we know, how interested are you in a PS6? Top of the leaderboard, 29% said, nope, I was interested, but not anymore. 20% said, nah, my interest is slipping away. With 15% said, no, I have zero interest in PS6 and it's staying that way. So that's a good chunk of the votes are just like, nope. Only 6% said yes, but it all depends on the games. Another 6% said I'm cautiously optimistic despite everything. And 12% said they're looking forward to the release.
The following poll is quite interesting as well. Yeah, what's the main reason you'd skip the PS6 at launch? 27%, the price too high. 38%, a lack of support for physical media. You have to bear in mind this is swayed by
fresh off the back of it as well.
Fresh off the back of it, and people who consume this content online.
Yeah.
13% being happy to stick with my PS5 or PS5 Pro. Bear in mind, I feel like that would have been higher if it wasn't for people going for the first two. Only 10%, I don't plan on skipping PS6 at launch. 8% moving to a different platform. 5% launch games not appealing to me, which is a weird choice when we don't have a clue what
we don't know, yeah. I'm not interested in game I don't know about. But it just goes to show you the hardcore of the hardcore who tune into Push Square websites, who listen to this show. They're already kind of making their mind up. And if you can't convince your hardcore audience, how are you going to expect random person who only plays Call of Duty, FIFA, and Grand Theft Auto to fork out 900 quid and then 80 quid for the game and then the controller and all the other stuff?
GTA 6 is going to be supporting on PS5 for
forever. Till the servers are shut down.
And yeah, EAFC probably got at least 4 or 5 titles.
Well, that's
on PS5.
Yeah,
but if the adoption of PS6 is slow, they'll
stick with the PS5.
They'll stick with the PS5 because it's like Just Dance still a few years ago was still pushing games to the Wii because they were still selling games on the Wii. Like they're going to sell where people are, and I feel like PS6 is a very, very hard sell right now. Unless the AI bubble completely bursts in the next year, and we suddenly have a massive amount of deflation in prices, people start having like a bit of more spare cash, disposable income. That's the term I was looking for. But none of that, I think, is likely.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a world, Richie, where the PS4 is still getting releases now. That came out in 2013. So here we are 13 years later, 5 and a bit years into the PS5 life cycle, and you're still getting like Tomb Raider Remastered Collection, Little Nightmares 3, Black Ops 7, FC 26, Sonic Shadow Generations, Atomfall. Like these are like some huge games from the last couple of years. WWE 2K. Like they all came out on PS4. So
well, interestingly enough, I thought for a while, if someone hadn't played any games at all for the last 20 years and went, I'm interested in getting back into console gaming. I don't know if it's going to be for me if I'm going to get back into it properly.
Fully, yeah.
What would you say a good way back into would be? I go, check out the PS4.
Yeah.
It's not the most latest console. You're not going to get the latest and greatest, but the library in that console is fucking amazing. You can pick up on CEX a PS4 500 gigabyte for 90 quid. you can probably buy a bunch of games from CEX for about €5-10 a pop.
Mm-hmm.
You can go into CEX for £200, walk out with enough games to last about a couple of years. And after that point, you can go, yeah, you know what, this was worthwhile investment. I'm going to upgrade the PS5.
And then there's a sad irony about how slow this PlayStation first party about getting games out is if you had a PS4, you could still play God of War Ragnarok, you could still play The Last of Us Part 2, you could still play Ghost of Tsushima, you could still play
Miles Morales.
Yeah, there's like so many games
that... You can't play Spider-Man 2, but you can play Miles Morales.
Yeah. You can play Naughty Dog's last game because they haven't put another one out since Last of Us Part 2. Like, that's how long it's taking. So actually, you can dig into a generation 6 years later.
Horizon?
Yeah,
Horizon
Forbidden West still there, yeah. Which these are all like current...
EFC still supported.
Yeah. And obviously, your evergreen ones, Fortnite, Minecraft, Apex Legends, they're all still there. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Sub £100, go fill your boots on a bunch of classics, or subscribe to PlayStation Plus. They're all probably in there for free by now anyway, for the most part.
Yeah, I've just checked. EA Sports FC there's PS4 versions of it, and that's for $26.
Probably runs like shit, but yeah, fill your boots. So customers aren't happy.
Though, that's the thing.
I mean, it won't run as good as it should.
No, it won't.
So yeah. So to summarize. Next gen digital only. Welcome to the digital future. Backwards compatibility, we have no idea. Sharing with friends and family, dead in the water. Secondhand markets, dead in the water. Video game preservation, we don't know yet. Do they even care? Who knows if they're making that extra percentage on top of the margins. Where's consumer law and regulators to step in and protect us?
Well,